Do you love trinket trading at the Renaissance Festival, but you feel really bummed that it's been banned at your local fair? Or maybe you're worried that your fair will ban it because you've seen other Renaissance festivals ban it. Well, here are Sprout's rules to trinket trading, and if everybody follows them, hopefully your festival doesn't have to ban it. But before we get into this list, hi, this is Sprout in my human disguise. I am a Renaissance fair entertainer and I travel around the country experiencing all sorts of different types of Renaissance fairs. And as a lane act who has trinket trading as pretty much my main part of my bit, I see everything that comes with trinket trading, all of the good and all of the bad. So I personally experience all of the bad things that gets trinket trading banned from Renaissance festivals. And please keep in mind that trinket trading is the same thing as trinket gifting. The only difference is that with trinket gifting, you're expecting a trade in return. But even with only trinket gifting, you're still experiencing 99% of all of the problems that come with trinket trading as well. So with that in mind, rule number 1, do not expect anything in return when you trade. Because at the end of the day, the whole point of trinket trading isn't really to trinket trade. Contrary to popular belief, the whole point of trinket trading is the interaction that you have with that other person. And while it may be cool to get a special little trinket, at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, it's just a dumb little trinket made out of plastic coming from Temu, being bought in the bulk of thousands for like $3. You know, if that trinket was really so special, you could just go over to Temu and go buy it yourself. But no, what usually makes those trinket trades so special is the interaction itself. So keep that in mind when you trinket trade. That goes for grown-ups as well as children. Number 2, do not throw a fit if you don't get the trinket that you want or you don't get your way. Please keep in mind when I say this, I'm almost never, ever referring to children when I say this, because for one, if children throw a fit, it's normal, their brains aren't fully developed. But 2, children don't throw fits over trinket trading. They just don't. In my experience, I can't even remember having a situation where a child throws a fit over not getting the trinket that they want, or throwing a fit because trinket trading has been banned, or throw a fit because a performer or a vendor doesn't like trinket trading, which I will go into a little bit later. But this includes in person as well as online. Don't go online on Facebook or whatever and start throwing a fit because you think that you're entitled to trinket trading, because at the end of the day, it's basically a privilege. You know, you don't have to trinket trade at a Renaissance festival. And as fun as trinket trading can be, contrary to some people's beliefs, I actually love trinket trading. It's kind of my entire bit, okay? I actually love trinket trading, but you should not be going to a Renaissance festival with the intent of only trinket trading, and that's like the absolute only thing that you care about. As awesome as trinket trading is, if a festival bans it, then respect that. And also understand that it's been banned for a reason, okay? A festival, especially a large festival's owner, is not going to want to ban something that could potentially make them lose money unless it's a real problem, okay? Keep that in mind. Festivals aren't just out here banning trinket trading willy-nilly, all right? Pun not intended. There's a very specific reason why they're getting banned. And if you don't know why, that's okay. You can ask questions, or you can just simply respect the fact that it's banned. Or you can respect the fact that you didn't get the particular trinket that you wanted. Number 3, do not trade trinkets that are worth more than $1 in retail value. As an entertainer, this doesn't affect me hugely, but this is a massive problem with the vendors, okay? And people think, oh, no one's gonna buy a bunch of semi-expensive products and give them out in bulk. I promise you they do, because I've been giving these products, and these are not gifts just for Sprout, which I get plenty of those and I'm grateful for, but I have seen people give out expensive products in massive bulks to give out to people, and they often are items that they either make or they want to resell or whatever, and they give out a business card along with the product because it's not a trinket anymore, right? And this is most common with jewelry. I see a lot of people will give out like a pair of earrings or a bracelet, necklace, ring that's like on the little like tag cardboard thing, and sometimes it's attached with a business card. And I have heard complaints where, for example, a jewelry shop vendor at a Renaissance festival has had people come into their shop giving out jewelry trinkets to potential customers of their shop. And then those people who received this free piece of jewelry just walks out. You know, they go into the jewelry shop with the intent of, oh, this is nice jewelry, I might buy something. And then they're immediately handed a free piece of jewelry and then they're like, oh, I'm good. And then they leave. I will go more into why that's so bad at the very last rule, but moving on, rule number 4, do not trade at a stage or in the audience of a stage during a stage show. I know there might be some stage show performers out there who are like, oh, but I love trinkets. I love it when patrons give me trinkets. I promise you, those performers probably do not perform at massive, very populated festivals where they get thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of trinkets. And most stage performers are not also lane performers, and they often just have a very different mindset. And now that I am a lane performer and a stage show performer, I understand why that is. And it's often because stage show performers literally don't even have time to work in the lanes because they're so worried about all of their stage show equipment and doing their rehearsals and everything. So most of the time, a performer would love for you to come up after the show and talk to them and give them a tip and take a picture. But when it comes to the trinket, they don't need another 1,000th duck, all right? But especially, do not trinket trade in the audience of a stage show in the middle of the show. Don't do it. For one, you shouldn't be talking at all during a stage show unless specifically called upon. But when you are trinket trading in the middle of a show, not only are you distracting the performer that's on the stage, but you're also distracting that other patron who's trying to watch the show. And while it would be fine to trinket trade with that other person after the show or before the show, it is incredibly rude and potentially financially harming to that entertainer on the stage, as well as rude to that patron who's trying to watch the show. Because obviously, if they're at that show sitting in the audience watching, that means that they want to be there and they want to watch that show, probably uninterrupted. Rule number 5, do not trade inside of a booth unless a booth worker invites you to trade with them. Now, when it comes to vendors, a lot of them like trinket trading and a lot of them despise it, okay? But I'm telling you, if you go into a vendor shop and they want to trinket trade, they will invite you to trinket trade, or they might have the trinket trading symbol on the outside of their shop. But if they don't invite you to trinket trade, that might be because, 1, they're not interested, or 2, they're just really busy in that particular moment, which means it is not a good time to trinket trade. But going back to what I said earlier about the jewelry thing, a customer who is in a shop is in there to browse the wares, right? And they might even buy something. And if you try to trinket trade with them, or even the booth employee, you might unintentionally interrupt a sales that's going on. Which brings me to rule number 6. Do not interrupt people when they're in the middle of something to trinket trade, especially if it's a conversation. I know I might seem a little bit extra passionate about this one, but this is the issue that I have the most often. And ever since I have put fencing in my garden, that problem has been reduced to almost zero. At least while I'm in the garden. But before I got the fencing, this was a massive problem that I had. And I've even addressed it before, and a lot of people got really butthurt about it. So let me just make this very clear, what I mean by interrupting people. I will be literally, all right, I don't have a magic bean on me, but I do have a Buckeye nut, which I do give out sometimes. So I will be literally like this, just like this, about 1 foot, 2 feet away from a small child, I'm talking 3 to 8 years old, although it doesn't matter the age. I will literally be like this, practically in their face, being like, oh, this is a magic bean, or this is a magic Buckeye nut, and it does this and that. And I have a whole little mini story about each of the magic seeds, all right? And I would have a patron, an adult, they would come from behind or the side, and literally, hold on, I got the perfect trinket for this. All right, here we go. Plastic duck, okay? I've got about 1 million of these. Literally coming from the side. I'm like this, remember? And they're coming in like this from the side and being like, look, I have a magic duck for you. And the kid's like, huh? Don't do that. Ever. All right, this is like a whole nother video, but I just want to like insert this just real quick. As a patron, your job at a Renaissance fair is to enjoy the Renaissance fair and to maybe, you know, have your children that you bring with you enjoy the Renaissance fair. Your job is not to provide entertainment and magic to other people's children. As a grown adult, you should not be going out and seeking as many children as you can who don't belong to you, strangers' children, and just going around and giving them magical trinkets, okay? If a child comes up to you and wants to trinket trade with you, that's amazing. Go ahead, do that trinket trade. But you should not be going out of your way to finding thousands or hundreds of children in a festival day and going out of your way to try to perform for them because you are not qualified, you have no training, you don't have performance insurance, you don't have a lot of things that is required to be a professional entertainer. So while I appreciate you doing your best to try to spread the magic, and you are absolutely allowed to spread the magic, but don't do it in a way that is going to disrupt not only the entertainer, but the child that is trying to have a magical moment with said entertainer. And that goes for vendors as well. Anyway, rant over. Rule number 7, no glass bottles or other sharp items. And the reason why I say glass bottles is because they shatter often, okay? And I know some people are like, well, I get the special kind of bottles that have the special kind of glass that doesn't break, blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you, they break in my bags all the time, okay? I've had other entertainers and cast members tell me the same thing, and just imagine for a moment a 5-year-old child going through their trinket bag and their glass bottle has been shattered, okay? And they're sitting there like, oh, where's my special trinket? And they have broken glass shards just sitting in their bag, okay? So no glass bottles or other sharp items or other items that can break, that can become sharp and dangerous. Rule number 8, no liquids or other sticky, messy fluids of any type. And that includes glass bottles with the sticky, colorful potions inside, because they do break, they do leak, and the cork can come out. And that also includes a sticky mess from like Jolly Ranchers, for example. Oh my gosh, the amount of Jolly Ranchers that have melted in my trinket bags, and then I pull out some cool trinkets, sometimes even personal gifts, because when I get trinkets, I just throw them all in a bag, which I will show you in a moment. I throw all of my trinkets in one bag, and then, you know, I take the bag home, and later I will sort through all my trinkets. Sometimes I will pull out trinkets, and there's like a whole wad full that are just covered in a sticky red or orange or purple mess from a Jolly Rancher, okay? Please avoid anything that can melt and become ultra sticky and gooey and messy and fluidy and get dyes everywhere and that sort of thing. Rule number 9, this kind of goes on the theme of Jolly Ranchers. No food. At least no food that's meant for eating, because of course I give out magical beans, which is a food item, but they're not meant to be eating them. And before they're cooked, they're as hard as a rock, so they don't want to eat them anyway. No food items, okay? Especially at large fairs, okay? I'm telling you guys, it is not safe. Okay, if your bestie gives you a food item, that's fine, obviously. But from a stranger, I'm telling you, it's not safe. And people are like, oh, well, people wouldn't like give out drugs like willy-nilly like that. Like, it's too expensive to begin. I'm telling you they do. And it happens all the time. Also, keep your lids to your drinks covered as well, especially in a crammed pub where you know, you're a little bit disoriented and you don't know what's going on, because someone might just put an experimental drug that they're trying to experiment on people, or someone might just, you know, want to attack you personally and drug you, because these things happen, okay? And take that out of the picture. A child might be allergic to a food item and, they eat it and the parents are not being very good parents and not paying attention, and then the child gets sick because that actually happens more often than it should. And last rule number 10, do not dismiss or invalidate the concerns of the performers and vendors or anyone else who might work at a Renaissance fair who has concerns about trinket trading, okay? Because so many entertainers and vendors have been speaking out about their concerns about this sort of thing, specifically with the behaviors I just mentioned. Not necessarily trinket trading as a whole, although of course there's some people who would rather just get rid of all trinket trading. That's not me. Like I said, I love trinket trading. It's kind of my whole bit, okay? But when people come out with concerns, and there's a lot of us, there's been so many people, okay, name drop, Jack the Whipper and Tiny Girl Big Show, they came out with videos concerns about trinket trading. And the rule is to not go to them with their concerns and just invalidate them and tell them that they're wrong or that they're entitled or whatever, because this is their livelihood. This is my livelihood. And I know you might think that you as the patron, you're the reason why the Renaissance Festival happens because you pay to get it. And that is true. The Renaissance Festival would not happen without you patrons. And it's very important that you patrons are happy, obviously. But the Renaissance Festival would also not happen if the entertainers and the vendors were not there and they were struggling and they could not financially survive. So instead they had to quit their Ren Fair careers and go back to their weekday jobs because they're not making the money to stay in it. And I saw a video recently, or an article, about how a lot of, particularly vendors, are choosing not to go to Renaissance festivals that have a trinket trading problem, where the management's just not addressing it, because they don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with the chaos, especially the larger fairs. Like I said, it's primarily the larger the fair, the more bodies that are coming into the fair, the more all problems happen, right? But especially trinket trading. While we respect you, obviously we respect you as the patron, because we are literally out here to entertain you, or at least as an entertainer, right? And we don't make enough money doing this to do this for the money, right? We have to make money because it's our living, but we don't do it for the money, because if we did, we would go do something else, because entertainers in the corporate world get paid literally thousands and thousands of dollars a day more than we do at a Ren Fair, all right? We go to Ren Fair because we love Ren Fair, and we love the community of Ren Fair, and we love the magic that spreads all around, and the faces of patrons lighting up when they see us. So we don't do it for the money, but we have to make enough money to survive, right? This is 2025. We all know that the economy is the way it is, right? It's also another reason why you don't need to be spending a bunch of money on bulk trinkets, or especially, jewelry or whatever that's worth. One time I got a freaking leather bag, a trinket leather bag. And it wasn't a gift just for me. They were like handing out little leather bags. So the point is, we as the participants, the workers, should and do have respect for you patrons. We actually love you. But some of you patrons need to work on respecting us in return, especially the ones who are breaking rule number 2, which is don't throw a fit. That's the biggest one. That's giving the customer is always right, even when they're not right. Right?